of things that we see on social media and in our culture kind of make it worse. Like we live in a pretty materialistic culture, right, in a couple of different ways. One is people show off that stuff, people are proud of it, and so you see it more on social media and stuff like that. I think we live in a culture whose economy relies on us wanting awesome stuff. Like if tomorrow we all bought this research and we're like, we're just gonna live with what we have, we'll just like get food when we need it, but pretty not Hennessy, like just minimal food, some water, some bread, whatever would be cool. Like the American economy as we know it would crash, right? Like it relies on the fact that we have a good jacket but still want to get a new Canada Goose jacket. It relies on the fact that we might have a car but are tempted to get a new car because our next door neighbor bought one. We live in a society that like tries to promote this stuff, and it's probably doing it through a lot of means that are more means and more effective means than it did in the 1940s. In the 1940s, people aren't seeing commercials and advertisements for things on TV and on the internet in nearly the same way as you guys do. Like all those things seep in, and I think it pushes material culture. Then we get these social comparisons, and then it gets worse. So I think there are a couple runaway effects that we've seen, but all of them are pushing us more towards buy more, get more, be more. You don't have enough right now. You're not pretty enough. All those things.
So with that like drastic rise in the prescription of kind of antidepressants, so I see like social media is definitely a big factor. Just like people are obviously showing off like their best life. That could make like I guess people more unhappy with themselves. But do you think there could be something with just the increase in the amount of like drugs that are available and just like the growth of pharmaceutical companies, and also people are kind of more open about talking about mental health, and so people seek mental health and like see more like maybe drugs as a way to deal with like being more happy than changing your habits per se.
Yeah, I think all of those factors you mentioned are at work. One is this reporting issue, is that probably since I think 1996, which is the date that I was quoting, that statistic on 400 times more was from. Obviously, it's become much more okay. People think more about things like depression. People know what to associate those symptoms with. People are okay with those diagnoses. So I think part of it is reporting, and that might be a good thing that people are able to admit this stuff and seek out care, and it's not as shameful as it was maybe many decades ago and so on. But part of it is also the same culture I was talking about, which is that there's now a culture of payoff for people who are taking these drugs. There are drug companies who want to promote you taking them. There are drug companies that are training doctors to think about prescribing this stuff. And I think that can't be the full picture, but it's probably a little bit part of it, right? Is that we are in a culture where we think medicine is going to heal things. And so that's part of why these things are increasing. I think this is true not just in the mental health domain, but also in the food domain, right? There's this whole movement of sort of food as medicine, right? Don't take your cholesterol medication, your high blood pressure medication, try to solve it through eating more healthy and eating less processed foods and stuff. So I think there's like parallels in other domains too. But yeah, I think there are a lot of factors at work. The point wasn't necessarily to talk about those factors per se, but it was to say the things that we think are going to make us happy, like we just all have higher incomes and we all have all these gadgets and all this good stuff, it's not helping us as much as we think. If anything, it kind of looks worse.
Yeah, so it's just, I totally agree with the points about like our economy and lots of stuff in our society telling us to, buy more and be better than we are right now and desire something else. And I was just thinking that in terms of a solution as far as a solution, it definitely makes sense to sort of like change your individual habits to try to connect with those things less. But if it's social factors that affect everyone, then there's also got to be some place for us to question the institutions that create those social ideas and notions on a broader scale. So I was just what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's great, and it's one of the reasons I love that I'm able to talk to you guys who are the next generation, who if you're going to make those societal changes, it's going to be you guys that do it. I think it would be awesome to kind of change these institutions around. If you guys are thinking about how you can do that, there's a couple obvious ways. One is don't take part in things that like increase depression. Like if tomorrow everyone in your generation, if all college students just got off Facebook, it would go away. I mean, I know it's mostly parents on there now anyway, but the point is like if we stopped using these social media sites, a lot of you who did that, the data suggests, would be less depressed. You'd increase more positive mood symptoms, and they wouldn't exist. If all of you stopped buying these things that you didn't need, all of a sudden those efforts would go away. So I think we can kind of vote with our dollars and vote with our ATM cards to a certain the other thing is that I think it would be nice if your whole generation of students didn't like support those kinds of movements in other ways. Like it kind of breaks my heart when I see all these students who are part of the social justice movements and care about this stuff and want to promote well-being, and then they go off and work at a place that I think has a philosophy of not promoting those kinds of things, or particularly all these things I just mentioned, like increasing money, like, you know, doing these kinds of, you know, social media things that make people depressed, working for a company that wants to sell stuff that may or may not be helping people in the way we think. The kinds of jobs that we take and the meaning that we get out of them, if we're supporting that kind of society in that way, then that becomes tricky. And you might think, well, if I can't do that, if I can't become an investment banker, if I can't work for a pharmaceutical company, like, how am I going to make my $200,000 a year that I need to be happy and all these things? And I will point back and say, I told you didn't have to do that. As long as you're, you know, if you're at 50K, you're mostly golden. So, yeah. So I think there's lots of ways. I think you're right that we need a more societal change. One person isn't going to do it. But I think it would be great if it came from you guys on a bunch of fronts. Okay.
So you mentioned like you're obviously going to go talk more about annoying features of like your minds, and I assume that over the course of this course we're going to kind of like discuss how we can kind of like counteract those inclinations or those kind of predispositions. But how are we going to approach that? Because like we all got to this point because at some point or time, like very often we listen to our heads. We like listen to like that little voices saying, do this, do that, do this, do that, don't do that, definitely don't do that, do this other thing. So like how do I like go into this trying to say, okay, like doubt that voice because it's gotten me to this point without like doubting everything I do, like every decision, like even the decision to like ask this question, like do I start questioning that too? Like should I just like how do I like get so paralyzed, like worrying like is this like something that could lead me astray? Like how do I just like live uninhibited but also
totally. Super hard questions, right? Super hard questions that people that have thought about this stuff for a while have worried about. And what we're going to see is that science has an answer to a lot of these things, maybe not all of the things. I think for your question, like, how do we get around it and how do we know what's what? We're still struggling with the full answers to that. I think the insights we have are that one of the things we can do, particularly about this annoying feature, so this is the special annoying feature, which is that we're not often getting the normative answers we think, right? Sometimes the things that our brains are telling us to do are either not true or they're going to lead us astray. How do we deal with that? One technique that a lot of folks have used in particular domains is sort of this technique about mindfulness and kind of mindful noting of different thoughts, right? I mean, the fact of the matter is that all these things that you have, these cravings for certain things, these desires, are really just that. They're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. And sometimes thinking of them as such can kind of cause you to take a step back and really look at your own data about whether those things are helping you. These kinds of techniques have been implemented the most and the best in the context of things like addiction, right? Where for certain people who are, say, addicted to heroin or addicted to cigarettes, their cravings, their desires that they have that feel really true to them, that they're leading them towards something that would be good for them, are really not. It's kind of more obvious in that case than in your case of like studying for good grades, say. And these techniques of mindfulness really have folks like treat their craving just as a thought. Like your craving, my wanting the cigarette right now is just a thought. Like I can be with it. I can sit there and say, okay, is this like getting worse? Like how does it feel and so on. And then the process of mindfulness also forces people to think about like, well, what are you really getting out of this? Like, is this really making you happy? And I think that's a technique we can import from treatments of things like addiction into our daily life for things, you know, like studying too much for good grades, getting worried about them is not probably as bad as heroin addiction. I'll give you that. But I think it's bad. I think it causes a certain amount of undue stress. And I think watching the consequences that you actually get from it might really be helpful. Treating yourself like a real experimental subject and watching your own data rather than your intuitions, but what are the real data, might matter. All of you guys gave a number right now for that class. Like, you could walk back at the end of that class. You would write that down right now. Like, I thought it was going to be a 1. And then you could see when you go on SIS and you open it up what it is. And you could honestly be like, all right, I'm a 5. That wasn't as bad. Like, you can kind of take your own data to see how you feel. And my guess is if you do that, if people did that, you might get a sense of like that some of these things are actually true, right? You know, you could try a different salary and see, are you really happy? Is your stress lower and so on. Some ways it's easier if you don't make those life mistakes and you listen to these other folks. But I think doing it for yourself actually matters. And that a little bit gets around the problem you mentioned, which is like, am I going to start questioning everything? Like if you're mindful of everything and you do something, you're like, that was actually, you can think about this question like, I actually felt good. She answered my question. I sounded smart. Like that was, like that actually was a good, I'm glad I did that. Like just kind of that questioning can often lead you to rather what your intuition tells you can tell you like, oh, that actually was good or that actually wasn't so good.
I was wondering, do you think that we as the millennials generation have like some specific characteristics that differentiates us from other generations and that makes us be unhappy and like more unhappy than our parents or grandparents?
Yeah. Well, the data on whether you guys really are more unhappy is a little bit mixed. One of the statistics I mentioned is it does seem like recent grads as a category are slightly more unhappy now than they were even a few years ago. What that's about though, it's tricky. Is that about job placement? Is that about like what's happening? So we don't have great data on if you guys are really more unhappy. My guess is that the rhetoric that you guys are so much more unhappy than previous generations is probably just that. It's just rhetoric. In fact, usually when we look across history, what we see is pretty strong consistency on what people report for happiness. So I think it's not as dire as everyone makes it out to be. But I do think you guys have your own particular challenges. These kind of illusions that trip up the mind to make you more unhappy in certain forms trip you guys up even more. I think we, as a generation of parents, have done you guys a disservice because we've drilled into your heads these kinds of goals that don't seem to matter as much, these goals that are incorrect. I mean, all of you said you wanted to get good grades, not just because, like, your parents have been fighting with you for years, like, don't worry about good grades, go out and, like, get good social relationships or be spiritual or do all the things I'm going to tell you later matter. They weren't getting you guys to do that from, like, first and second grade. They were, like, thinking about having you guys, like, get good grades and get into Yale and all these things. So I think you guys have been taught that these goals are the goals that matter, maybe more so than previous generations. And so it's in some ways no surprise that you're kind of going full force towards them. And I think that's a fault of your parents' generation. That's a fault of the way you guys are trained. Some of you guys have heard about this book, Excellent Sheep, which talks about your generation and the kind of accolades you guys go for. I think we've taught you to assume that these accolades are going to make you a lot happier than they actually make you. And that's kind of a fault of ours. So I think there's a little bit of that. And I think, as I mentioned before, your generation is the first to deal with this strange phenomena of social media, this strange phenomena where our brains are built. An annoying feature of our minds is we assume our perceptions are accurate. We assume our perceptions are giving us the right statistical information, right? And the fact is my guess is that social media is not giving you statistically accurate information about other people's lives. People don't really look like that on social media. They look like that only when they take the picture and post it, which happens to be when they look extra good. People aren't having that much fun statistically all the time as they do on social media. That's just not true. And that's just social media. That's not all the advertising you're exposed to about these norms, that people are happy, that people have great bodies, all this stuff. Like, I think you guys, more so than most generations, get inundated with social comparisons that are kind of built to mess you up. And that's tricky. That's something that you'll have to overcome. Good news is there's some strategies you can use to get better about that stuff too. Last question, did we finish up?
Yeah. And so when discussing like attaining this happiness with regards to these misconceptions, is there something in general that people seek with regards to like reduced levels of stress or a feeling of elation or kind of a combination of the two? Like, is there something specific that kind of people want from these things, or what kind of?
Yeah, what are people seeking? Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good question, and you guys can introspect for yourselves, right? Like, grades was a thing that came up first, right? Why do you want to get good grades? Like, it might not be to be happy, but it'll be like, so I can get that internship, or so I can get into grad school. I'll be like, okay, why do you want to get into grad school? Like, really, I think we're doing most of the stuff we're doing ultimately because we want some sort of positive mood, like positive life satisfaction. Like, ultimately it gets down to like being happy. Most of the things you think. I think if you push it, if you kind of keep asking those why questions, you get to that point. So my guess is that we kind of assume there's some causal role of this stuff in being happy. And if we find that link isn't what we thought it was, then we should kind of question it. But your question brings up something that we'll see a lot in the course, and something that is kind of a problem for the field of positive psychology. And that's like what we're measuring. You mentioned like life satisfaction, increased positive mood, decreased depressed mood. Already in the studies I presented, I've tried to be kind of honest about what they're measuring. One was like feelings of not blue, one was like reported life satisfaction, or how happy would you feel. All those measures are a little bit different, and sometimes we kind of collapse them together, and they might not be telling us the same kind of thing. And this gets back to kind of Gary's question about individual differences. It might be that some of those measures move one way for some people, but don't hang together as well for others. And so you'll see that come up as like, yes, your mood is different, but like, maybe your overall life satisfaction, the meaning in your life will be different. We'll try to talk about those as we go through them. But the upshot is, my assumption is that people are doing these things even if they haven't articulated, because at some point they think it's going to make them happy. They think it's going to make their life better in some real sense. And so if it's not, we probably should know that. Or if we're spending time on this stuff, we should force ourselves to spend time on the things that is going to have the causal role that we want. And so with that, we will pause. Next time when we come back, we're going to go into way more of these annoying features of the mind. What are the annoying features of the mind that really make you think all stuff is going to make you feel totally jazzed up, when in fact it's not? That's what we're going to get next week. Before that, you guys all have your homework, which is that I want to see how authentically happy you are. So please go on this website. I'll send it to you guys again over email. And just get your score. It's going to be a score between 1 and 5. And we will just look statistically if whether that changes after these practices. So thank you guys for being here. There's more coffee and cake outside, so enjoy.
So that was the science of well-being from week 2, questions and answers. About why we have misconceptions, annoying features of the mind. Right, now we have references and notes. J.J. Florence, from Santos and Candler, 2014. Knowing is the how the battle. Article defines J.J. fallacy, which is mistaken idea that knowing is half the battle. The article reads, recent work in cognitive science has demonstrated that knowing is a shockingly tiny portion of the battle for most real-world decisions. So we have this article covered here. Let's see this example. Well, we know, but the irony is that knowing that the J.J. fallacy's fallacy is, as the fallacy would predict, less than half the battle, as is knowing that the people tend to experience 1999 as a significantly lower price than 20. Even if you know about this left digit entering effect, the first item will still feel like a significantly better deal. Even if you know about ego depletion effects, the prisoner you encounter after lunch will still seem like a better candidate for parole. Even if you know that implicit bias is likely to affect your assessment of a resume's quality, you will still experience the candidate with the African American name as being less qualified than the candidate with the European American name. And even if you know about Parozolin's guest work, you will still hesitate to drink Dom Perignon out of a sterile toilet bowl. Knowing is not half the battle for most cognitive biases, including the J.J. fallacy. Simply recognizing that the J.J. fallacy exists is not sufficient for avoiding its grasp. So now you know, and that's less than half the battle. Alright, so let's try from the beginning. 2014 was scientific idea is ready for retirement. From Laurie Santos, Professor of Psychology, Director, Comparative Cognition Laboratory and the Canine Cognition Center from Yale University, and Tamar Gendler, Professor of Philosophy and Cognitive Science and Chair Department of Philosophy, Deputy Provost for Humanities and Initiatives, Yale University. So knowing is half the battle. Children of the 1980s, like the younger of those two co-authors, may fondly remember a TV cartoon called G.I. Joe, whose closing conceit, a cheesy public service announcement, remains a much parodied YouTube sensation almost 30 years later. Following each of those moralizing pronouncements came the show's famous epithet, "Now you know," and knowing is half the battle. While there may be some domains where knowing is half the battle, there are many more when it is not. Recent work in cognitive science has demonstrated that knowing is a shockingly tiny portion of the battle for most real-world decisions. You may know that 1999 is pretty much the same as 20, but the first feels like a significantly better deal. You may know a prisoner's guilt is independent of whether you are hungry or not, but she'll still seem like a better candidate for parole when you recently had a snack. You may know that a job applicant of African descent is unlikely to be qualified as one of the European descendant, but the negative aspects of the former's result will still stand out, and you may know that a tasty piece of food shaped like a duck shit will taste delicious, but you'll still be pretty hesitant to eat it. The lessons of much contemporary research in judgment and decision making is that knowledge, at least in the form of or consciously accessible representation of a situation, is rarely the center factor controlling our behavior. The real power of online behavior control comes not from knowing but from things like situation selection, habit formation and emotion regulation. This is a lesson that therapy has taken to heart, but one that poor science continues to neglect. So the idea of the cognitive science needs to retire is what we'll call the age of fallency, the idea that knowing is half the battle. It needs to be retired not just from our theories, how the mind works, but also from our practices of trying to shape minds to work better. You might think that this is an old news. After all, thinkers for the last 25,000 years have been pointing 2,500 years have been pointing out that much of human actions is under rational control. Don't we know by now that the age of fallacy is just that? A fallacy. Good job. Gilbert, all 1998, even neglect a source of durability bias in affective forecasting, Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. The papers tell us why we don't feel as bad as we think we will when turned down for a job. People are generally unaware of the operation of the system of cognitive mechanism. That the experience of negative affect the psychological immunity system, and thus they tend to overestimate the duration of their affective reaction to negative effects. This tendency was demonstrated in 6 studies in which participants overestimated the duration of their affective reaction to the disillusion of a romantic relationship. And the failure to achieve the tenure, electoral defeat, negative personality feedback, an account of a child's death, and rejection by a prospective employer. The participants failed to distinguish between situations in which the psychological immunity system would and would not be likely to operate, and mistakenly predicted overall and equally enduring effective reactions in both instances. The present experience suggests that people neglect the psychological immunity system when making effective forecasts. I am the happiest man alive. I have that in me and can convert poverty into riches, adversity into prosperity, and I am more invulnerable than Hellas. Fortunate had not one place to hit me. Sir Thomas Browne, Regilio Medici. Imagine that one morning your telephone rings and you find yourself speaking with the King of Sweden, who informs you in surprisingly good English that you have been selected as this year's recipient of a Nobel Prize. How would you feel and how long would you feel that way? Although some things are better than instant celebrity and a significant bank deposit, most people would be hard-pressed to name three, and thus most people would probably expect business to create a sharp and lasting upturn in their emotional lives. Now imagine that the default phone call is from your colleague president who regrets to inform you, in surprisingly good English, that the board of regents has dissolved your department, revoked your appointment, and stored your books in a little cardboard boxes in the halfway. How would you feel and how long would you feel that way? Losing one's livelihood has all the hallmarks of a major catastrophe, and all people would probably expect this news to have an enduring negative impact on their emotional lives. Such expectations are often important and often wrong. They are important because people's actions are based in a large measure on their implicit and explicit predictions of the emotional consequences, future events, and decisions to marry or divorce, to become a lawyer rather than a corner player, or to pass up the Twinkie at the convenience store in favor of a croissant from inconvenient bakery in ordinarily predicted on the belief that one of those events will bring greater emotional rewards than the other. Indeed, affective forecasts are among the guiding stars by which people chart their life courses and steer themselves into the future. Byron 1992, Hermstein 1990, Kahneman and Snow 1990, Lowenstein and Frederick 1997, Theodore Parkinson, Brenner and Reynolds 1997. But are those forecasts correct? In some ways, they undoubtedly are. For example, most people recognize that a weekend in Paris would be more enjoyable than a gallbladder surgery. A few people fear chocolate or tingle in anticipation of next year's telephone directory, but even people can estimate with some accuracy the valence and the intensity of an effect that future events will evoke. They might be less adept at estimating the duration of that effect, and it is often the prediction of duration that shapes an individual's decisions. Right, so next we have the money. Kids survey 2014. What recent grades care the most about? This graphic shows what recent grades care about the most. Hence, it's money. Lubmirsky, how the happiness and no approach to getting the life you want. Again, et al. The American Freshman Survey, Higher Education Research Institute, National Norms. Myers, American Paradox, Bitter to Hunger in Age of Plenty. Dinner and Oshimone, Happiness, Income and Subjective Well-Being Across Nations. Lubmirsky, How Happiness, New Approach to Getting the Life You Want. Kenny and Dayton, How income improves evaluation of life but not emotional well-being. New York Times, Economic Diversity and Student Outcomes at Yale. Awesome stuff. Like big data, those are the most name-dropped cars in hip-hop. Joseph, the most name-dropped liquor brands in rap history. Nickerson, zeroing on the dark side of the American dream, a closer look at the negative consequences of the goal for financial success. True Love, Lucas, re-examining adaptation and the set-point model of happiness, reactions to changes in marital status, Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Perfect Body, Jackson, psychological changes following weight loss in overweight and obese adults and prospective cohort study. Vansour's predictions of cosmetic surgery and its effect on psychological factors and mental health. A popular-based follow-up to study among Norwegian females. Perfect Grades, Levine, Accuracy and Artifact examining the intensity in affective forecasting. Journal Personality and Social Psychology. And the Tantor. Genes and Circumstances. Lubomirsky. And How Happiness and New Approach Getting the Life You Want. Alright, let's see what's next here. Course Honor Code. We're dedicated to protecting the integrity of your work on Coursera. As part of this effort, we created a honor code that we ask everyone to follow. Of course, all learners should submit their own original work, avoid sharing answers with others, report suspected violations, of course. Week 2 quiz. Alright. Week 2 quiz. Review key concept. Get closer to your goal. You are 20% more likely to complete the course if you finish the assignment. Submit assignment by 14th September. Attempts 2 every 8 hours. Save grade 800 or higher to pass. Week 2 quiz review key concepts. review key concepts related to current learning objectives. Understand that simply knowing is not enough to change behavior. Nothing to review. Give examples of what things won't make you as happy as you think they will. Revise and reconsider goals and aspirations that will not lead to improved well-being. Okay. Okay, so this quiz should be confidential. Week 2 quiz. Alright, so this quiz should be confidential, so I just wanted a short break from viewing the course of well-being. Let's try to chill out a bit. With some music, and after I complete the quiz, let's show the review. It's nice thunder out there. Alright, so I cannot show my answers, but I can read all and describe those without giving out any. That's fair enough. Okay, so the first one. This week, Professor Sanders showed a visual illustration of visual illusions to make a point. How human think. The illusion below, the pause illusion, was left out. If you're like most people, you will see the line on the right as longer, even though the two red lines are the same length. Go ahead and measure them. If you don't believe it, the illusion works because the distance cues provided by black lines tricks our brain into thinking that the right line is further away and should be bigger. Wow. Exactly correct, yeah. the illusion is what we see. Which of the following statements align with what Professor Santos covered in lecture? Check out that apply. Alright. So the answer is our minds are stronger, or our minds' strongest intuitions are often wrong. Our minds always deliver accurate information to us. Knowing is half the battle, knowing is not half the battle. Alright. So let me check. Boom. Alright, the second one. Considering the studies shown in lecture, which of the options below closely aligns with the comparison of predicted emotions to actual emotions after receiving bad news, like getting a bad grade or getting turned down for a job? The first four answers: neutral predicted, neutral actual, neutral predicted, super sad actual, super sad predicted, super sad actual, super sad predicted, and neutral actual. Okay, so considering the studies shown in lecture, which of the options and others as well? Some have ringing out there. Which of the options below closely aligns with the comparison of predicted emotions to actual emotions after receiving bad news, like getting a bad grade or getting turned down for a job offer? Alright. Alright. And the third one, true or false. After a certain point, people are content with their salary and do not aspire to make more money. Alright. And the fourth one, according to Sonia Lubomirsky, what is the percentage breakdown of the factors that determine our general happiness? For us is the 50% genetic set points, 50 life circumstances, 40 genetic set points, 60 life circumstances. 50 genetic set points, 10 life circumstances, and 40 are intentional actions and thoughts. And the last one, 50 genetic set points, 40 life circumstances, and 10 are intentional actions and thoughts. Alright. The fifth one, true or false. The past several decades of economic development has made the inhabitants of the US much better off and has consequently led to a drastic improvement in life satisfaction over the years. Alright, the sixth one. Did you do your requirements this week? Don't worry, there is no wrong answer. Yes, I did. I did those. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Alright, I understand that submitting work that isn't my own may result in permanent failure of this course or the activation of my CourseBe account. Okay. Learn more about honor code and use the name of your government ID. Issued ID. Alright. Alright. Let's check it. Ooh, so it's not all correct. Actually, it's 83 and 3. So I slip up just a bit. 2, 2, 2. Alright. Yeah, reading and thinking together. That's the way for the better grade. Alright, so there was tricky question that I split up on. But after 8 hours I can make this quiz one more time. Alright. Help us identify the right topics, select the skills that are covered in this quiz. Human learning, planning, leadership and management, correlation and dependence, resilience, problem solving, decision making. Right, it's definitely problem solving and decision making. Human learning, planning, resilience. Alright, leadership, but management, yeah, and correlation and dependence. Alright, it is as well. Another one. Oh, let's try just those. Alright, so the quiz is done. To pass it better, just one more question. It could be made better. Right, let's see what's next there. Alright, ways to learn more books of Sonia Lyubomirsky and How of Happiness, a scientific approach to get in the life you want, great introduction toward and positive psychology, practical guide to using this work in your daily life. Or Richard Taylor and Cass Sunstein, Nudge Improving Decisions about Health, World and Happiness, a nice introduction to the science of behavior changes and how we can work with some of the glitches of our own minds. Alright, so maybe not in this moment. Can we just... Alright, week 3. Alright, so just a short break and let's jump into this week 3. Why not? the Science of Well-Being Week 3. Requirements, kindness and social connection. This week we'll focus on possible practices that enhance our social lives. Specifically, we'll try to make a habit of increasing our social connection and taking part in more random acts of kindness. Random acts of kindness. Research shows that happy people are motivated to do kind things for others. Over the next 7 days, you will perform 7 acts of kindness beyond what you normally do. You can do 1 extra act of kindness per day, or you can do a few acts of kindness in a single day. Those do not have to be over the top or time-intensive acts, but they should be something that really helps or impacts another person. For example, help your colleague with something, give a few dollars or some time to a cause you believe in. Say something kind to a stranger, write thank you note, give blood, or so on. At the end of each day, list your random act of kindness. You can make a list in a notebook. Keep a running note on your phone, log in a daily planner or whatever method works for you. Just make sure you finished 7 total new acts of kindness by the end of the week. Requirement handout for kindness. Looks like this. So, Sense of Well-Being, Week 3 requirement, random acts of kindness. Yeah. Track your progress. Use the circles below to track your progress. Each circle represents a day of the week, and you can label the date using the lines above each circle. Mark the circle on days you completed the requirement. Shade the circle, write a check mark, draw a smiley face, initial, or whatever you want. Get creative. Ultimately, you will know what types of visual cues are best for you. Alright, so maybe it was yesterday, just an hour passed, but I already did my random act of kindness. Let me put on flux. Do not disable. Alright. Just dim a bit. Alright, I help my friend with some TV and net connections from the programs just by phone call, so it can actually work. Like today's act of kindness. Let me just capture that. Boom, boom, boom. Kindness. Alright. want to skip ahead in the course and learn more about the science of random act of kindness, watch the lecture from week 5 titled Kindness. Watch interview from week 5 with Elizabeth Dunn. Maybe not now. Make a social connection. All social connections matter. Research shows that happy people spend more time with others and have a richer set of social connections than unhappy people. Studies even show that the simple act of talking to a stranger on the street can boost our mood more than we expect. Over the next 7 days, you will try to focus on making one new social connection per day. It can be a small 5-minute act like sparking conversation with someone on a public transportation, asking a co-worker about his or her day, or even chatting to the barista at a coffee shop. But you should also seek out more meaningful social connections too. At least once this week, take a whole hour to connect with someone you care about. A friend who's far away or a family member you haven't talked to in a while. The key is that you must take the time needed to genuinely connect with another person. At the end of the day, list the social connection you made and notice how you feel when you jot it down. Remember to keep track of your connection in your preferred requirement tracking method. The requirement handout for social connection is just as similar to the previous one as well. So we can see week 3 requirements, social connections, description, progress, and the place for those. Alright, let me mark social connections on my chart as well. Social connection 1 of 7 should be significant. Thinking of 7 at 7 awake here. Alright, beyond this course, learn more about kindness and social connection. Learn more about the importance of kindness and social connection from Sonia Lubmirsky's book. Is this a link to Amazon to buy it? Yeah. Alright. Let's check the next one. Alright, kindness.
In this activity, we're going to focus on kindness, the simple act of doing something nice. Why are we focusing on kindness? Well, as we saw in lecture, the simple act of doing a random act of kindness can come with a host of positive benefits. Doing nice stuff for others can increase our mood, and it can also increase our feelings of social connection. How do you make the most of this activity? Well, you just gotta do nice stuff for people. Try to do at least one random act of kindness a day. It could be something big, like donating money or volunteering in your community, or it can be something small, like giving somebody a compliment, or just doing something nice. As usual, we want you to track what you did. So get out there and do something nice. It'll make you feel better than you expect.
Next one, social connection.
In this activity, we're going to focus on social connection. Why social connection? Well, as we've seen in class, being socially connected makes us happier. Turns out that the simple act of making a new social connection, talking to a stranger on a train or even at a coffee shop, can significantly increase our positive mood. And so how do you make the most of this activity? We just want you to seek out more social connection. Strike up a conversation with a friend, or grab lunch with someone you haven't seen in a while, or even strike up a fast conversation with a stranger, and then track that you did it. As we've seen, tracking will help us turn one act of social connection into a habit. So get out there and find a friend, or chat with somebody new. The simple act of making a social connection will make you happier than you expect.
Right, so we have annoying feathers of the mind.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second Psychology of Well-Being lecture. It's exciting to see everyone back again. Hopefully you guys learned something from taking your happiness measure, so we'll see how that goes. But just to kind of reorient everyone, especially for folks who weren't here the first time, about what we're going to do. We're going to go through 5 different lectures. Last time we talked about misconceptions about happiness, these spots where you think you have certain goals, but those goals are not going to make you as happy as you think. And today we're going to turn to this question of why our expectations are so bad. Why is it that we think all these things are going to make us happy when they won't? And so this is going to be a little bit more of a sciencey lecture, but it's going to be awesome in that it's going to teach you about lots of your biases that lead you astray. And so you're going to kind of see them in action. Just a reminder, because I'm being a professor here, I have to check that you guys did your homework from last time. And so hopefully you all successfully went through and measured your happiness on the Solomon survey. Everybody measure their happiness. How many folks were kind of surprised that their happiness was lower than they thought? Can you show of hands? A couple folks. Oh, a lot. Anybody surprised it was happier than you thought? A couple folks. So some room for movement either way, which is great. Just a wrap up of where we were before. When we last left, you guys finished up by realizing that all these things that you care about a lot, that you think are going to make you very happy, are not actually going to make you very happy at all. And I'll just re-put up the list that we keep seeing. Good jobs, lots of money, awesome stuff, true love, perfect body, perfect grades. We make the prediction that these things are going to make us really happy. But in practice, they either don't or they don't make us as happy as we think. And so that was the main take home of last time. All these things that you think are going to make you happy don't make you as happy as you think. And today we're going to walk through why that is. But I thought I would give you a nice word to sum up this take home, the kind of definition of this sort of phenomena of not really thinking the things that are going to make us happy actually do. And it's a term that comes from 2 researchers, Tim Wilson at the University of Virginia and Dan Gilbert at Harvard. And it's this fantastic term that I love, which is called miswanting. The definition of this is just this act of being mistaken about what and how much you're going to like these things in the future. This is the problem, is that our brains deliver to us this idea that we want certain things, but we are wrong about it. We are constantly miswanting. Right? And today we're going to go through this question of why does this miswanting occur? What is up with our minds that it delivers to us incorrect predictions about what we're going to actually like? What are the biases that cause these?
Alright, so what is the definition of miswanting? We have 4 answers there. The act of misinterpreting other people's levels of happiness. Unlikely. The act of wanting things that you know will harm your mental state. They're almost kicking. The act of wanting others to have your level of happiness, regardless if it's on the lower end of the spectrum. Not really. The act of being mistaken about what and how much you will like something in the future. And I think this one is spelled more correctly than the harming mental state. Alright, according to Tim Wilson and Dan Gilbert, who coined the term miswanting, is the act of being mistaken about what and how much you will like something in the future.
And we saw some hints of what the answer we're going to see this week, last week, because I noted that there are these lots of annoying features of our minds that are messing us up, annoying biases that we seem to have that lead our predictions astray. And we saw one of them last week, which is what I'm going to call annoying feature number 1, the first one that you're going to learn about, which is that our mind's strongest intuitions are often not the ones we expect. We sometimes get things totally wrong. Our intuitions are just false. And we can see that in the context of vision. Vision sometimes gives us a nice set of intuitions into our biases. And we saw last time that even though it looks like these two tables are actually different sizes, in fact, the top part of the table is exactly the same size. You saw my fun demo where I stood up and did that last time, so I won't do it again. But basically, we're getting this intuition from our visual system that those two things are different and they're really the same. This is the way lots of our mind works. A lot of the intuitions we're getting are just incorrect. So that's kind of annoying feature number 1. I want to put it in the context of the other annoying features you're going to see. The rest of this lecture is going to be focused on 3 more annoying features that mess us up all the time. Standard ways our minds see things that just don't really work. And just like the case of the other annoying feature, I want you to see them first in the context of our visual system, again, because it's easier to see our biases that way, because they operate kind of all through the mind, from vision to happiness decisions. You're going to see them in that context, and then we're going to apply them in the case of happiness and the typical decisions we make.
Right, that's annoying feather number 2.
Okay, so what's annoying feature number 2? Annoying feature of the mind number 2, which is rampant throughout the mind, is that our minds just don't think in terms of absolutes. We just don't think in terms of the true thing that's out there. Instead, we think in these very relative terms, and we're constantly judging relative to what I'm going to call a reference point. What do I mean by reference point? Well, it can mean all kinds of different things, but for the purpose of this, we're going to talk in terms of this salient but often completely irrelevant point against which we're judging something all the time. There's a really cool illusion in vision that some of you may have seen that involves such reference points. This is an illusion known as the Ebbinghaus illusion. Some of you guys seen this before? Show of hands. Some people, not everybody. Well, the illusion comes when thinking about those orange circles in the center. So which of the 2 orange circles do you think is the larger orange circle? The one on the right, yep. Well, of course, it's an illusion, so I'm messing with you guys, right? In fact, they are exactly the same size, as you can see when I get rid of the circles. But because of the presence of these other circles on the outside, these other reference point blue circles, we actually don't see the circles as the same size. We can't. Even though they're absolutely the same size, we can only see them relative. So when you're looking at this orange circle over here, you think, whoa, that orange circle must be super big because all the blue circles around it are so small. And then when we look at the orange circle on the right, we think, whoa, that orange circle's got to be really tiny because look at how big the other circles are there. We're not seeing in terms of absolutes. Whenever there's a reference point on the side of something, we actually see it differently. This is this phenomenon in spades. We are constantly judging relative to other stuff out there in the world, and it messes up our judgment of what the thing we really care about, our particular decision or a particular circle, what size, what magnitude, what awesomeness it really is. So that's vision. The question is, do we actually see these kinds of reference points messing up our happiness judgments? Is it really the case that we judge the kinds of events that happen in our lives and whether they're great or not relative to these kind of irrelevant other things? One of the most famous examples of this was talked about by Medvik and his colleagues. And it actually involves like situations that people experience in real life. And some of you may watch these kinds of things like sporting events like the Olympics. And so here's one of the most famous examples of these kinds of reference points messing up happiness. So some of you folks might remember who this guy is, Michael Phelps. This is Michael Phelps with one of his bazillions of gold medals that he won. I think this is the 2008 200-meter swim or something like that. But he just won the gold medal. He's pretty happy. You can tell by his expression. And so that's one point of happiness. But is Michael Phelps a relevant reference point for other people's happiness? So let's look at the dude who's on the side of him who won the silver. And the idea is we might predict from an absolute level, if you win a silver medal, it's like you're pretty happy, right? You just won a medal in the Olympics, but you might be slightly less happy than Michael Phelps, right? So we might predict that the guy who won the silver's expression is happy but not as happy as Michael Phelps. Well, this is Laszlo C, I think, or Laszlo Che. He's from Budapest. And you can see from his expression, he's like way less happy than Michael Phelps. He is not looking very happy at all, much less happy than you might have predicted. Well, if he, the silver winner, is that unhappy, what can we predict about the guy who's the bronze winner? He must be like super unhappy, like frowning up there, right? Well, I will reveal the bronze winner. It's Ryan Lochte from back in the day, but you can see he is not super unhappier than the silver medal winner. He's actually looking really smiley, maybe even more smiley than Michael Phelps, right? So what is going on? Well, what Medvik and colleagues claimed is that each of these folks is experiencing a different reference point, one that's very salient to them at the time. If you're Laszlo and you were like 1 second away from winning silver, what's your most salient reference point? You just get the silver medal. You're thinking, well, it could have been like I was like 1 second away from the gold medal. I could have won a gold medal and I just messed up, right? That is your salient reference point. And the claim is that that's why he's looking pretty unhappy relative to Michael Phelps. If you're Ryan Lochte, however, and you're a bronze, what's your most salient reference point? You're almost like, dude, I almost didn't make it on here at all. Like, I almost didn't get any gold medal. Like, this is pretty sweet. Like, if I was 4th or 5th, like a couple of half seconds away, it would have been terrible. And so what Medvik and colleagues did was they made this prediction not just from this sort of image here. They actually went back and analyzed video footage of the Olympics that the year before, I think it was, and they had raters just rate independently how happy they thought everybody's faces were at the moment that they got their medal, the moment they knew their place, and on the stand. And what they find is exactly this pattern where the white bars, this is kind of looking at how high happiness is, the white bars are the silver medals and the yellow bars are the bronze guys. And both when you first find out and when you're on the stand, you're finding that the silver medal winners are actually way less happy than the bronze medal winners. Kind of reference points in action. Whatever your counterfactual is, it's affecting your happiness. It's not your absolute level or the absolute medal you got, it's what you think you could have gotten, right? So that's all well and good for a happiness move that, you know, many of us, maybe some Yaleys actually are Olympic medal winners in this room, but like most of us aren't going to get to that point, right? Most of us are not going to have reference points that are that salient, like the gold medal in the year Olympics. Are our reference points messing us up in just the same way? And what I'm going to submit to you is that all the stuff we talked about last time, good job, how much money you get, the perfect body, all those things, we think of in terms of reference points. In terms of thinking about what counts as a good job, we saw last time that most of our evaluation of what a good job is actually concerns having a high salary. That's, for better or for worse, what everybody seems to care about. And what we've seen is that those are cases where we can look at our preferences only relative to other reference points, and other reference points severely seem to mess us up. One of the first reference points we saw a little bit last time, we'll talk about in detail, that seemed to mess us up, is our own reference point. It's what was happening to us in the past or what's happening to us right now. What we used to make in terms of our salary is a pretty salient reference point. We saw that a tad before when you ask folks, how much salary do you need? What's the salary that's your required income that would make you happy? And it just goes up depending on what you were making before. So if you're making $30,000 and you're thinking about your next raise, you say, well, the required income I would need to be happy is $50K. Whereas if you're at $100,000 and you're thinking about your required income, you then say, actually, it's not like $50K. I'm not like twice as good as I should have been. What I really need is $250K now. You're kind of constantly bumping yourself up. And this is this idea that our idea of a good income is not just done in absolute terms. It's done relative to some reference point. And the reference point is often what we used to make a little bit ago or what we're making right now. In fact, we kind of never get satisfied. And two economists did a nice analysis of this, kind of what's the jumping point. And what they find is for every amount that your actual income goes up $1, your required income, the income you think you want, actually goes up $1.40. And this happens at every raise. At every raise point, if I survey you, you actually think you're not making enough, you want to make more. So this is one of the first reference points that super messes us up, is our own current status is messing up what we think the good status is. We're constantly below the reference point we see. The more annoying reference point, and the one that I think messes us up even more in all these other different contexts, is not our reference point where we are right now or where we were before. It's the reference point of where other people are at. It's our social comparisons. And I'll put this kind of slightly cheesy cartoon up there, and you can't read it in the back. This is this guy kind of negotiating for a salary raise, and he says, okay, if you can't see your way to giving me a pay raise, how about giving Parkinson a pay cut? And the idea is like, this guy's not going to be able to buy any more if Parkinson earns less than him, but that is a salient thing to us. We care a lot about where we stand relative to other people, even more than our own absolute level. This is what psychologists refer to as social comparison. As you might guess, this is the act of evaluating yourself, be it whatever it is, if it's salary, possessions, abilities, beauty, grades, whatever, relative to other people. Okay, let's back up there, good. And so, is this really the case? Are we constantly comparing against other people? Well, it turns out that comparisons against other people are one of the number one things that affects whether or not we not only like our salary, but also like our job. And this is what Clark and Oswald looked at. They actually did a big survey of 5,000 British workers at various jobs. And what they found was that a person's job satisfaction, how much they liked their job, actually went down as their comparative income went up. In other words, as your income is less than the other people in your firm, if you feel like you're making less, you like your job actually less. So as other people's income goes up, you like your job even less. And so the idea is if you're in a place where your coworkers have a higher salary than you, you're just necessarily less happy with your job. Controlling for absolute income, so controlling for how much you make, you're still just less happy, not because somebody else makes more than you. Even though that doesn't affect how much earnings you take home, what kind of house you can buy, what kind of car you can buy, none of that's affected, but it still makes you unhappy. In fact, it makes you so unhappy that humans do what they tend to do when they're unhappy, which is do all these crazy, spiteful things, like maybe take less money to make other people get less money too. And so this is what Solnick and Hemingway looked at. They actually did this survey among Harvard students at the Harvard School of Public Health. They asked, okay, imagine you were to pick a job with one of two situations. Which would you prefer? So option number one is that you can have a job where you earn $50,000, but everyone else in your firm at your same level is only earning $25K. Or you could be in a job where you are actually earning $100,000, but everyone else around you in your similar pay grade is actually earning $250,000, right? You would think that most people would want double the potential income that they could spend, like, more cars, more all this stuff we think we want. But in fact, when you actually look, over 50% of people choose the first one. Over 50% of people choose having half of the income so they won't be less than others, which is pretty crazy. This also explains some of the reasons why earning less than others causes so much hardship. So think of the case of unemployment rate, something we might want to bring up. What's the awful thing about being unemployed? You might think it's like, well, not having a job, not having money, and so on. But it's partly maybe just earning less than others in a really extreme way. And to look at whether or not that was the case, Clark did this cool study and made a kind of funny prediction. He predicted basically that if you're unemployed in an area where not that many people are unemployed, that's going to impact you really badly. But if you're unemployed in a spot where lots of other people are unemployed, you're going to be fine, even if that means the overall job rate around you is like really, really bad. And so to test this, he looked at this measure of well-being, comparing people who were employed versus unemployed. So it's like how much worse are you than if you had a job across different cities in the UK with different unemployment rates. And so here's what I'm going to plot. This is kind of how big the well-being gap is. So bigger numbers means you're like worse off when you're unemployed than when you're employed. And this is the unemployment rate of these different counties in the UK. And so bigger numbers means more unemployment. And here's what they find. They're just plotting all the different kind of zip codes throughout the UK. And what you're seeing is this neat negative relationship. So if you're unemployed in a spot where lots of other people are unemployed, it's actually not as bad for you, even though it means that all the people around you are not having the income they might expect. We're so prone to social comparisons that even something like not having a job depends on whether that is bad for us. It depends on whether or not other people around us don't have that too. And so this gets even more extreme when we think about what counts as a reasonable social comparison. Maybe it makes sense that if you're unemployed, you treat others who are employed or in your zip code as being a reasonable social comparison. But are we only doing that? Or are we taking in these reference points that are kind of crazy, right? Like, what's my reference point for what my salary should be as a Yale professor, right? Well, I could look to, Paul Bloom, who's my colleague, who also teaches Coursera courses. He's in the psychology department. He might be a good reference point. That might be okay for me to compare myself to. But it would be bad if I was comparing my salary against Beyonce's, because, like, that's just crazy. Like, I'm not going to be Beyonce. I'm not going to make her money. I'm not going to be as beautiful as her, so on. We would assume that our minds, if they're going to use reference points, use reasonable ones. But it turns out that our minds don't do that. They seem to soak in anything around us as a reference point. And given that I'm watching Beyonce videos, this could be messing me up. And so this was what Ogin and Shrum looked at. They wanted to see whether people who were exposed to crazier and crazier reference points, more unrealistic standards of salaries and incomes, actually got messed up. And here was their hypothesis. People who watch lots of TV are faced with people with crazy salaries, crazy incomes, crazy beauty levels, crazy stuff. Is that messing people up? In other words, does just watching a lot of TV where you see things like The Real Housewives and Empire and all this stuff, does that make you less satisfied with your own salary? Does that mess up your intuitions about what normal salaries around you are? And what they found was that, in fact, it does. So as you go up in your TV watching, so this is number of hours of TV watching, you also go up in your estimation of other people's average wealth. So this isn't just like average wealth that you see on TV, this is average wealth around you. In addition, what they found is that if you go up in numbers of hours of TV watching, you also go down in your estimate of your own wealth relative to others. So the more TV you watch, the more unhappy you are with your own income. Why? Presumably because you see these Real Housewives, right? You're watching like Kim Kardashian on her reality TV show, and you're like, my income is not nearly this good. And what do you do to solve it? You might just be unhappy. You might try to spend more to keep up with the Joneses. And that was what Shor looked at and did, because an economist can do these kind of cool calculations. And what was reported is that for each hour of extra TV watching you do a week, you are spending on average $4 more each week in household spending. So for every hour of TV you watch, people are spending $4 more on stuff. Why? Because we have these mechanisms to kind of keep up with the Joneses. We're trying to kind of keep up with the other folks who are near us. But we're not calculating who's really a good reference point to be near. We're just kind of keeping up with whoever happens to be in our space, be it people we see on Facebook, people we see on TV, people we see so on. We're not calculating the weirdness of how people got the stuff that they got. And another lovely example of this, one of my favorite kind of studies in this field, comes from Kuhn and colleagues, who looked at a strange case of keeping up with the Joneses. Namely, do you try to keep up with people in your neighborhood who have won the lottery? And they looked at a particular lottery in the Netherlands where you win not only a bunch of money, but you also win a car. And so you have this like prominent new car that's sitting in your garage. And the question is, if you live close to somebody with that new awesome car in their garage, does that mess with you? Does that cause you to want to buy your own awesome new car, even though you didn't win the lottery and you can't afford it? And so here's what plotting how the percent of people that are buying new cars within that year, and they're looking at it whether you live next door to the person who won the lottery, whether you're 2 houses away, or whether you're a control. You're in that district, but you're not like seeing this new car in the garage all the time. And so here's what happens before the lottery, just to say people in these situations don't like buy cars differently. They kind of all buy cars at a particular rate. And here's what happens the year after the lottery. Basically, you're almost twice as likely to buy a new car yourself if you live next to the person who won the lottery than you are if you're just kind of in a control case. It's kind of like just seeing the new car in the other person's lot makes you want it so bad that you buy this car that you probably don't even need, at least basically what the controls are doing. And so all this goes to say that all these things we're seeing, kind of a good salary, money, how much awesome stuff you have, we don't think in terms of absolutes, we think in terms of reference points. And it's a really insidious reference point. It's just like whoever we happen to be near and whatever lives we happen to see. And if we're in a situation where we're seeing lives that are just like crazier than ours because they're Kim Kardashian's life or Beyonce's life or so on, we're not tracking that. This happens also in the context that you guys face all the time, like the context of good grades. Why are Yale students so unhappy about their grades? Because they happen to be at a place where lots of people are really smart and lots of people get really good grades. But that means that as other people's grades go up, maybe your unhappiness with your own grades are going down. And that can also lead to these insidious, spiteful sorts of behaviors vis-a-vis other people's grades. And one of my favorite examples of this comes from a cool study by Burleigh and Megan, where they actually did an experiment in their own classes to see how spiteful students might be about other people's grades. And so I'm going to show you the email they sent out. I'll kind of read you the relevant parts so you don't have to read it. But he says, look, I like to give my students these bonus opportunities. Sometimes I make mistakes. And so here is the bonus opportunity I'm going to give. Basically, if you just check this answer at the bottom, anyone who does this, we're going to have a system where you're going to get 0.567% on your final grade. So your final grade point average is going to go up by a half a point, basically, which sounds awesome. Which, if you're on the tipping point, like if you're like 95.5, or I guess like maybe say like a 90.5, maybe that'll tip you into a better grade. So you could go from like an A- to an A, right? So it seems pretty sweet. All you got to do is check this off. But he goes on to say, because it's 0.5, not everybody's going to get the benefit of this, right? So he says, if you're at 69.0 and you go to 69.5, we round up. So that's going to be pretty sweet for you. Then you'll go from a 69 to a 70. Instead of getting a D+, you're going to get a C-. You're going to go up a lot. But if you happen to be a 68.9 and I had the 0.5, then you're only at 69.46, like you wouldn't go up. So you're getting the math? Like, it just depends where you happen to fall on that decimal if you go up a grade or not. And he says, look, there's no way to know what part of the decimal you fall on. Probably half of you are going to be lucky and you're going to go up a whole letter grade, and the other half of you are not. But there's no way to know. You just have a 50% chance. And the question is just do you approve, does the class as a whole approve of this policy, right? And so just to point out, nobody's going to go down at all. And everybody doesn't know they have a half chance of going up, just because they're on the cusp. What they found is that not everybody preferred this plan. In fact, about 41% of students rejected the proposal to do this and said, we don't want our class to be able to do this. Even though nobody goes down and everybody has a half chance of going up, a lot of people rejected it. And the neat thing is that the rejections were higher in the top 50% of the class. In fact, they were about 10% higher than across the board. What does this mean? This means the students who were at the highest levels of the class, who had the most worries about social comparisons of people being bumped up, they were the ones that hated it the most. And the upshot is that students are all willing to miss out on their own grade bonus just to kind of screw over other people because of this social comparison. Some of you are kind of sad, some of you are laughing, but I think you get that Yale students might do something similar. So good grades, social comparison really bad. How about things like perfect body, perfect relationship, and so on? Well, this is a spot that's super insidious if you've ever been like me at an airport or at a newsstand looking at all of these things, because the world has media that features bodies and perceptions that don't match with what the average is. And at least in my case, they're usually a little bit hotter than me. I'm constantly faced with these social comparisons that are younger, better, all these things. And so the question is, does this really mess us up? Well, this is what Kenrick and colleagues looked at. They looked at specifically about messing up our happiness and our mood. And so they did this in particular with women's mood on this 4-point scale. Just rate your mood before and after you look at pictures of models in magazines on a 4-point scale. And what do you find is that before looking at models, you get about a 2.3 on a 4-point happiness scale. Afterwards, that drops down to about 2.0. But this is on a 4-point scale, right? You're dropping like a third of a point on a pretty small scale. This is just like a few minutes of looking at these kinds of pictures makes you more unhappy. This is true of your own perceptions of yourself, but can this also mess up things like your perceptions of other people around you? Like if you're in a relationship and you're looking at pictures of lots of other hot people who might happen to be hotter than your spouse, does that mess up your own absolute rating of your spouse? Henrik, in a different paper, looked at this too. And so he had men rate their wives' attractiveness after looking at centerfold models. You might think, oh, this isn't harming anything. I'm just looking at, pictures of attractive people and so on. But in fact, it harmed people's ratings pretty badly. So rating your partner in a control condition on this scale came about with a rating of 26. And you do it after looking at the model, it drops a bunch of points. So these are small differences, but showing you that social comparisons are kind of messing us up. And if you're tracking, it's messing up all the stuff we talked about. It makes you less satisfied with your job, your amount of money, your car, your stuff, your relationship and how attractive your partner is, your body, and your grades. All these things, other people's stuff, makes you more unhappy, right? And so the upshot of that is that we face a particular set of reference points that are messing us up. But you guys in this generation face a very special set of reference points that have never been experienced in the history of the world, because you guys don't just have TV and magazines and media, you have the reference points that you face through social media, through things like Facebook and Snapchat and all this stuff. And there's this question about whether or not these kinds of reference points are messing us up too. I don't know why my screen keeps going out, but see if it comes back magically. Here we go. So are these kinds of things also messing you up? And in fact, as you might guess, they really are. And they really are in a much stronger way than at least I expected before I started looking at this stuff. So one study, Vogel and colleagues actually looked at Facebook and how much looking at your social comparisons on Facebook improves or messes up your own self-esteem. And so they tested this correlation between Facebook use and your self-rated self-esteem after you've looked at Facebook. And they also looked at the direction of your comparison. So when you're on Facebook and when you're on Snapchat, are you looking to see, like, are other people, like, having a really bad day? Are you trying to make downward social comparisons where you're looking at people who are worse than you? Or are you on Snapchat, like, whoa, everybody else's Saturday night is way better than mine, and kind of looking up and making these upward social comparisons? What happens? Well, what they found is that there's a pretty high correlation between Facebook use and self-esteem. So two things. Remember last time we talked about size of correlation, and we saw that the correlation between income and happiness is about 0.1. There's twice as big a correlation between Facebook use and self-esteem, but unlike the other correlation, this correlation is in the negative direction. What does that mean? It means the more Facebook use you have, the lower your self-esteem. And the magnitude of this effect, again, is twice as much as the magnitude of increased income on happiness, right? This is messing you guys up pretty badly. You could say, though, well, correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation. Maybe it's the, like, low self-esteem people who are spending all this time on Facebook, right? So could we do an experimental intervention where we make people look at Facebook feeds, just random people, and see if that messes them up? And that's what they did in a second study. They kind of exposed people to this fake Facebook feed so they can mess with it and say, are they all the awesome people, or are they, like, the kind of losers people who don't have things going on? And so they did both. They did the kind of people who were awesome and people who were loserish, and they measured your self-esteem. But they also did a neat thing where they took your ratings of yourself and the target. They measured how you thought about yourself after you saw this and how you thought about the other person. And so here's what they find. First is that if you're making downward comparisons, so you're looking at the losery people, your self-rated self-esteem is about that, which actually they didn't do a control, sadly, so you can't say did it go up or did it go down. But definitely it's much lower than if you're doing this upward comparison. And remember, the self-esteem is like on, I think what I said, a 5-point scale. So this is like a big jump that you're jumping down just by doing these upward comparisons. What about your ratings of yourself and other people? Well, here are, I'm plotting kind of these big ratings. More things are like more awesome. Like you think the other person is extremely awesome, all these good things. So here are what the data show. These white bars are yourself when you're making upward and downward comparisons. You get a little bump when you're making downward comparisons, but not very much. What you do, though, is get a big bump depending on what you're looking at with the target. So when you're making upward social comparisons, you definitely think the target is better than you. But when you're making downward social comparisons, the weird thing is you don't get that same bump for yourself. So if you're looking at the losery people, you might think you kind of bump up your own perception of yourself. You don't. The only thing you get is a bad effect when you're looking upward, saying, I'm such a loser, I did this terrible song. The upshot is that all the data suggests that across social media, all these problems with reference points are kicking in, and they're kicking in a major way and in a way that's not giving you the benefit that you think. It's actually just bad. So if you right now were to structure your life and do one thing that you think would make you happy, it wouldn't be picking a job that earned you $100,000. The magnitude of that effect is less than if you just decided to stay off social media because it's not actually helping you.
Alright, so which of the following are examples of reference points that could contribute to lower levels of happiness? Choose all that apply. So we have 4 to choose from. The first is the gold medal for our Olympian who received the silver medal. Right. The question is, which of the following are examples of reference points that could contribute to lower levels of happiness? Alright, so it's the first one. remembering to do your homework. Don't recall this one. Restricting your intake of fatty food when you are on a diet. Don't think she mentioned that. 100,000 salary for someone currently earning 50,000. Okay, so the question is, which of the following are examples of reference points that could contribute to lower levels of happiness? Alright. Actually, the last one as well. Right, correct. The reference point is salient, but often irrelevant standard against which our subsequent information is compared. A silver medalist will compare his level of achievement to the gold medalist and in doing so lower his level of satisfaction with his own achievement, earning the silver medal. It's especially shown in the match for gold or silver, so there are just two people, two teams against each other, and the bronze is already decided in another one. This should be selected as well, so 100k salary for someone currently earning 50k. Alright, yeah. Alright. Just miss. A reference point is a salient but often irrelevant standard against which our subsequent information is compared. Someone earning 50k will compare her salary to what she could be earning, example 100k, and in doing so lower her level of satisfaction with her current salary. Alright.
So with that, we'll kind of conclude this section. This annoying feature that our mind doesn't think in terms of absolutes, it thinks relative to reference points. And our mind just sucks at picking reference points. It just soaks in whatever reference point we get, and it doesn't actually have a great filter. And so the more you can kind of force that filter on it, the better you will be.
Alright, annoying further feature. Annoying feature 3. Number 3.
We're now to the third annoying feature that we're going to see really messes up all those happiness judgments we saw. And that's the fact that our minds are built to get used to stuff. We just kind of have these minds that kind of adapt over time and habituate. Again, since we think in terms of vision, we can see this really well in the concept, in the situation of perceptual adaptation. So have you ever been in a super dark room where you walk out into the light and all of a sudden you're like, the outside, like how is it like the brightest thing ever? What's going on? Well, your visual system has adapted to being in the dark. So much so that it just assumes the dark is going to be there. So when you get this contrasting thing, this bright thing, you're like, what is going on? This happens in the context of light. It also happens in 2 ways in the context of color. And that's where I'll give you your visual illusion in the context of absolutes for the day. So see if this works. So bear with me here. So what I want you to do is to stare at this image as much as possible. And what I'm going to try to do is to kind of habituate and let your color receptors adapt to assuming this color that you're looking at is just the color you see in the world. So be staring at it really, really intensely and so on. And then when I get rid of it, if this works, you should see a really brief after image of the opposite colors that come on. Your brain has assumed so strongly that those colors were there that as soon as they go away, it assumes that other colors might be there even though it's just white. Here's a more timely one. I'm going to leave this on longer to see if it works. So stare at this image. You might not know who this person is. Stare, stare, stare. Eyes really big. Staring, staring, staring. She goes away. You can tell who it was. It was Beyonce. But anyway, you're supposed to do this with your screen closed anyway. Coursera will have it and it'll work out. But basically, this is the phenomenon of perceptual adaptation. Your perceptual systems, just in those few seconds, are just assuming like, oh, the state of the world is just like, I see a reverse flag on the screen. That's just like the way it is. And as soon as it goes away, you're like, whoa, what's happened, right? You're getting used to stuff over time. The phenomena is the same in the context of hedonics, in the context of what makes us happy. It's not like we just get a stimulus and it's there and we notice it all the time. We just get used to it. And this is this phenomenon of hedonic adaptation. I'll just give you a quick definition of this. This is this process of becoming accustomed to both positive stuff and negative stuff, such that the effects you get from them emotionally just like don't work as well over time. And this is the kind of thing that makes a lot of the awesome stuff we see not as awesome. And I love this little meme of the cat facing this awesome thing. The cat is saying, he's faced with all these hot dogs, he's saying, yes, I believe I'm going to enjoy this. And I feel like this is the kind of situation we face a lot. We see this hedonic stimulus that's awesome. We're like, I'm going to get this, and it's going to be awesome. And the more I get of it, like the more awesome it is going to be. And the fact is that this is just wrong. This is just not the way it works. And it doesn't work like that in part because of hedonic adaptation. The problem with all of these awesome things that once we get them, usually they tend to stick around. You get a new job, you're going to be in that job for a while. You buy awesome stuff, a new car, a house, you meet the person of your dreams, you achieve these perfect grades, you get a certain GPA. Like, these things stick around. You get used to them. They become the new normal. They stop bringing you the happiness that you expect, and they reset your reference point for the future. This is one of the reasons that when we get this stuff, it doesn't make us happy. Is this really what's going on? Can we see these effects? How about these kinds of effects in the context of money? Do we habituate to money? You might think, no, like if I had awesome money, I would love it forever. But you just saw the effects I talked about, which is that as soon as your income gets bumped up $1 more, you actually want $1.40 more, like a really particular spot where you get this sort of form of hedonic adaptation. There's an even better study that looked at this by Dutella et al., where they really looked at individual people at their salary adaptation over time. So they tracked people across almost 20 years in Germany as their salary went up and up and up, and they tried to see, are you getting used to it? And here's what they find. Here's people's salary. So this was like the 90s, like .com boom. People's salary was just like whoop. And here's what their happiness looks like. It's just flat. You kind of just get used to it. That's the context of money. How about an extreme case in the context of money? Maybe like over time, there's such small changes you can get used to them. But what if you get a big windfall all of a sudden? What if you win millions of dollars in the lottery? Surely you would notice that, right? Surely you wouldn't get adapted to that. Well, Brickman and colleagues did a very famous study where they looked at lottery winners 1 year on and they assessed their happiness. Lottery winners versus controls who did not win the lottery. What you find is lottery winners report about 4 out of 6 happiness. That seems pretty good until you realize that controls who haven't won the lottery are at 3.82, statistically no different in that case. So even like this huge windfall, you think you're not going to get used to having $1 billion, you actually just do. This is also true in marriage, as you guys saw. I love this cartoon of the happy people who are just married, but then 2 years later, they're just married. That's all they are, right? We saw this graph last time, but basically if you missed it last time, here's the graph of marriage satisfaction as you get to time 0 of marriage. Kind of life satisfaction goes up, but then by 2 years in, you're no statistically different, and then you just kind of habituate to your partner. They stay around. You just get used to them, just like perceptual adaptation. What about one that's a little bit more close to home? This phenomena of going to Yale. You guys have been at Yale for a while, most of you, so if you forget how happy you are when you first find out that you go to Yale. So to remind you, I went to YouTube where I was happy to learn that there's a lot of these college acceptance videos where people like film. This seems so anxiety provoking to me. I can't imagine that people do this, like take a video of themselves as they're clicking, but they are there. And if you watch them, those people are very happy to find out they got in. So this morning when you got up and you had, like, as soon as you got up, you realized, like, in this moment, you're like, wait, I'm a Yale student. Did you think, were you like, I'm a Yale, oh crap, oh crap. Like, probably you guys are laughing because you know, why is this all the case? Well, the psychologist Dan Gilbert, who's this fantastic book called Stumbling into Happiness, has a great quip about this, where he notes that wonderful things are especially wonderful the first time they happen, but their wonderfulness wanes with repetition. That moment when you're like, I'm going to Yale, that first time you realize that, that is fantastic. But the subsequent moments, you just kind of get used to them. He also has these examples that you guys are too young to realize, but he talks about the first time your partner says, I love you, is just like the best ever. But like last Tuesday when they say I love you, it's just nothing. Or he notes the first time your child says mommy or daddy is like the best thing ever. But then, like, 17 years later when you guys say mommy and daddy, it just loses its thing.
Alright, what are examples of hedonic adaptation? Check how that apply. Tricky one. Meeting someone you think you might eventually fall in love with. The feeling you get when you buy a new phone. Your dream job become the new normal. Getting used to your six-pack and turned arms over time so that they don't give you the same sense of satisfaction they did at first. This one as well. Of course it is. So, hedonic adaptation is the process of becoming accustomed to a positive or negative stimulus such that the emotional effects of that stimulus are attenuated over time. In other words, a hedonic adaptation is the process of things becoming the new normal, so that the things that make you happy make you less happy over time. So as well, that will be the last one. Getting used to your six-pack and turn arms over time so that they don't give you the same sense of satisfaction that they did at first time.
But this is sad, right? Because we want to maintain the awesomeness of all of these moments. These things are going to stick around. We want them to remain as awesome, but as we get used to them, we just get kind of sad and bored over time, which is kind of sucky.
So unknowing feature number 4.
But I want to talk about an even more insidious, annoying feature that's related to this, that I think affects you guys even more than this hedonic adaptation, which is what I'll call annoying feature 4, which is that in addition to having hedonic adaptation, we also don't realize that we're going to have hedonic adaptation. We don't And this is a particular thing that messes up our predictions, because we think the happy things that we seek out are going to make us happy for a long time, or maybe even more insidious. We don't realize if bad things happen, we're just not going to be that affected by them very soon. And so we go back to our cat example, and the reason I chose this meme, in addition to the fact that it's funny because it has a cat and lots of hot dogs, whatever, is the bottom part where he's like, I believe I am going to enjoy this. Like, this cat really believes that if he continues eating hot dogs 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, that the 6th and 7th hot dog is going to give him as much happiness as that first one. And I think it's funny, the cat, but we all have a little bit of the cat in us. When we think these things that we buy, we think when we buy the new iPhone, we think when we get into this new relationship, we think when we get into Yale, that we're going to maintain that same level of happiness, but we're just not. This is an illusion. And it's an illusion not just for this cat and his hot dogs, it's an illusion for when we think, oh, we're going to get the perfect job that we really love, or we're going to get this awesome stuff, or we're going to get in this awesome marriage, or we're going to get into Yale. Like, we think this is going to be there, but it's not. And if we realize that, we might be a lot happier. And so there's a word for this that Dan Gilbert and his colleagues came up with. They call this bias the impact bias. And this is the idea that we tend to overestimate the emotional impact of things in two ways, both in terms of their intensity and in terms of their duration. We think they're going to be better than they're going to be at the moment we get it, and we think that it's going to last longer than it really does. You saw one of these, the intensity part, in the context of a study that I'm going to say one more time because it's so important to remind you guys of. It has to do with grades. Remember this study about predicting how badly or happy you're going to feel if you get a grade that's better or worse than you expect. So if you get a grade that's higher or lower than you expect, how will you feel on this 9-point scale? Here's what students actually predict. If it's higher than expect on a 9-point scale, you're going to be at an 8. If it's what you expect, you're going to be like almost 8. But if it's worse than you expect, boom, you're going to drop all the way down to a 4.4. What is it really? It's basically exactly the same the whole way down. It's like not really different than you like really care about, right? And so why am I telling you that? This is the case where we're mispredicting the intensity of our own reactions. We predict that we're going to be super happy if we get a grade that's higher than we expect. Even worse, we predict we're going to be really, really depressed and really sad if we get a grade that is worse than we expect. But in practice, we're just not that messed up. We also are messed up in terms of mispredicting the duration. We think that events are going to last, they're going to affect us way longer than they actually do. And this prevents us from taking certain actions in the world that would make us happy or not, or maybe be risky, there might be a bad outcome. I think it's going to affect us a lot and for a long time, but it kind of just doesn't. And so here's another example that's close to home, sort of, because it involves residential colleges, but it's residential colleges not here at Yale, it's at that other school at Harvard. Some of you may know that at Harvard, or at least at the time this study was run, you find out which residential college you're in during your freshman year. So you just learn, like, you're in this residential college. They don't know when they first get there, at least at the time of the study. And what they asked is, you know, you're going to find out tomorrow that you're in, like, either a super good residential college, like Adams House, which is the best house on Harvard's campus, or you're, like, in a super crappy one, like you're, like, in Mather, or like you're quadded, which is like the terrible thing at Harvard, right? And they asked, like, how are you going to feel? In fact, how are you going to feel 1 year later? Like a year later, you're stuck in this crappy residential college. How bad is that going to be? And they have people predict. They predict on a 7-point scale. And what do you find? Well, here's the graph of what people predict. So they predict if I'm in the Silliman at Harvard, which is the best residential college, obviously, then it's going to be awesome. Like on my 7-point rating scale, a year from now, I'm going to be a 6 because it's going to be awesome. If I'm in, you know, Franklin or like Styles or whatever, one of the not so good colleges, then my happiness is going to, like, you know, it's going to be half of what it could have been, right? What is it actually a year on? It's indistinguishable, right? We think these things are going to last forever. Probably at the moment you find out you got in a crappy rank, kind of like, that's a little crappy, but like after that moment, everything else takes over, okay? And this graph is awesome because I think it shows one of the things I worry most about our misprediction, which is that, yeah, we have this impact bias for positive things. We predict it's going to be awesome. It's not as awesome as we expect. But we have way more of an impact bias for negative things. We think this is going to destroy our lives to be in this crappy residential college. We'll only be at half our happiness potential, but like it just doesn't nearly do it as much as we think. The impact bias we have for negative predictions is much worse than we think. And so just to give you a couple extreme examples, one of the spots where researchers have looked at this, I think because researchers care a lot about this being academics, is our predictions about getting tenure, right? So as you know, most of the junior faculty here will find out if they get tenure. Some will get tenure and then they have a job forever. others will be denied tenure and they predict that their whole life will be over, they have to leave Yale, find a new job, etc. And so Gilbert and colleagues actually asked professors to predict how happy are you going to feel if you get tenure and how sad are you going to feel if you don't get it. And so here's what they find. You get tenure, you predict, I'm going to be super happy. You don't get it, you're like, oh, this is going to be terrible. What do you actually find? It's just like you guys with grades. You're like slightly over predicting for how happy you're going to be if you get it, but you're really under predicting how happy you're going to be when you're denied. It's just not as bad as you think, right? Maybe you guys can't relate to getting tenure, so here's another example that might be more salient to you. What if you go through a horrible breakup? You really thought you were going to be with this person for a long time, but you break up a long-term relationship. You're both predicting something about the intensity of how bad this is going to be and its duration. Are you right? Paul Eastwick and colleagues looked at this, and it turns out you're wrong. Here's your prediction of distress, so bigger bars are more unhappiness. Here's what it actually is. Like basically at every point, if I ask you, how about 6 weeks in? How about 10 weeks in? You're just off in your predictions. You're just way better. You're way happier than you expect, even with this negative event. How about a really extreme negative event that you might think? So you go in for a routine test, DUH, decide to get an STD test, and you find out that you are HIV positive. Like this is something that you might all predict is going to really mess up your life and decrease your happiness for a long time, right? Here we have some famous examples of this. We have Charlie Sheen, who found out he was HIV positive, and I love this next headline, like from 11 months later. He says that how he's doing excellent. It's like he's having the best time of his life, even though he's HIV positive. You might think that's just because Charlie Sheen's like a little bit off. Like normal people would be really messed up by this. But what is it really? Well, Seif and colleagues actually did this. They actually looked at people's predictions of their HIV test results and what people actually feel at the moment they get the HIV test results. And so you predict before and after. Here's the predicted for a negative result. I think this is around out of 100, basically on the scale they use. So you predict like you're going to be pretty, mid-range happy if you get this, and it's distress, so bigger numbers are worse. And you predict that if you get a positive result, you're pretty much at like max distress possible of finding out you're HIV positive, right? What are the actual results? Well, they're less good than you think, and they're way less bad than you think. I mean, this isn't like the best day of your life when you find out you're HIV positive, but it's not nearly as bad as we think. And in fact, this is just the moment that you find out. If you look a year later, the results even out even a bit more, right? So even the most horrible things, we are not good at predicting. And you might say, maybe this is just because we don't get to do this all the time. Like, if you think about the worst things in your life, your breakups or finding out you're HIV positive or something, it doesn't happen that much that these horrible things happen to us. So maybe we don't predict well because we just, like, don't have that much experience with it. Maybe if we had more experience with horrible things happening to us, we'd be like, when horrible things happen to me, they ain't so bad. And so Aiden and colleagues actually did a cool thing. They found this strange case where horrible things happen and they might repeat happen to try to see, do people get better at reducing their impact bias over time. And they looked at teens, like facing a driver's exam, because as you know, some of you may have had, I had this experience too where I failed once, where like you can sometimes fail multiple times in a row before you get it. And so you're predicting like how happy am I going to be if I pass, but you might have had the experience of predicting you're going to be really upset if you fail, and then you fail and you're not upset. Maybe you update over time. And so that's what they did. They actually looked at teens' forecasts of how happy they're going to be if they fail the driver exam. And if they fail multiple times, are they more accurate as they fail more and more? And so here's the graph of predicted and actual happiness. And you're seeing basically what we've seen on a million other graphs, which is that people are predicting that they're going to be really low on happiness, but their actual happiness is really high. But that's if you've never had a previous test before. That's a classic impact bias. The question is, does the impact bias get lessened if you've failed a number of times before and had the experience? The answer is no. Every single time you fail, you still mispredict the next time that you're like, this time I'm still going to be really upset if I fail, and you're just not. We don't get better at impact bias as we get more experience with it, which is kind of sad.
Which of the options below is an example of impact bias? Alright, thinking that your professor is a good person because they have impacted your life positively. Believing something negative about your friend based on stereotypes. Predicting that you will enjoy eating a scoop of chocolate ice cream in the future. predicting that you will feel extremely sad for a long time if you fail a test. Let's stick to the last one. Impact bias is the tendency to overestimate the emotional impact of the future event, both in terms, intensity, and its duration.
And so there's this question about, okay, we're not getting better at it, but like, why are we bad at this? Like, what is messing us up? Why can't we see how resilient we're really going to be? And again, we have Dan Gilbert and colleagues who came up with these like fantastic psychological biases that he talks about. And these are pretty profound, and they're ones that you can actually work on to get rid of these biases. The first of these is what he calls focalism. And this is the idea that when we think about our predictions about an event, we tend to think about just one thing about those events, forgetting everything else that could happen in our lives, right? So let's take an example. Like tomorrow you go to DUH, you do your routine STD test, and you find out you're HIV positive. And you're like, everything in my life is going to stop. And I say, a year from now, how are you going to feel? You're like, what are you focusing on? You're like, I am HIV positive. That is the thing you're focusing on. Everything in my life is going to stop. But a year from now, what's really happening to you? Like, you're going to classes, you're like hanging out, you're thinking about summer jobs, you're like, eating really good cupcakes in the dining hall. Like, your life is filled with all this stuff that's not your HIV status, right? It's just not going to mess you up as much as you think. This is focalism. We focus on this one thing, we ignore all this other stuff. And this is the misprediction. This is what focalism is. When you focus on the one thing, you mispredict. And so when you're predicting about your own happiness levels, like if you get a job or you do something, think not just about that moment, but think about the stuff surrounding it. Like, okay, that's how happy you're going to be if you get this internship you really want this summer, but what else is going to happen around it? Like, there's still going to be rainy days, there's still going to be all this stuff. Same thing with the bad stuff. If you're predicting like how bad you'll feel if you take this class that's kind of risky and you get a bad grade, like think about the stuff around it. You're going to have other grades. It's going to be the summer. Like you're going to move off. You're going to rationalize why you get that bad grade, all this stuff, right? And that last part about rationalization gets us to the second bias that causes these mispredictions. And that's what Dan Gilbert calls immune neglect. And this is his idea that we are sometimes unaware of the power of what he calls our psychological immune system. What does he mean by this? He means that we just have this tendency to adapt to and cope with negative events. We're actually just pretty resilient. We're actually a lot more resilient than we like to think sometimes. So the fact of the matter is, like, we actually don't like when sucky things happen to us. Like, our minds don't like to feel really awful, and we have lots of mechanisms for feeling better when we feel really awful. Like, let's say we have a breakup. Do you just like sit there and bemoan the breakup? No, you have friends who take you out and you go get ice cream, or you like go on the internet and look at pictures of puppies. Like, we are not like trapped in this horrible event that happens. We have lots of resilience to get over things. This is true with bad grades too. Yes, it's a bad grade, but like you move on, you go out with your friends, you go to like you're not stuck in this focus. You have mechanisms to make yourself feel better, and you engage in those mechanisms much more so than you realize. And we have a set of powerful ones to get ourselves out of thinking that we are a bad person or things are really awful when bad things happen. We can rationalize and we give ourselves reasons and we find meaning. We do all these things because we have a whole suite of psychological tricks to force ourselves to feel better. The crazy thing is we don't realize we have these. We're constantly forgetting how resilient we really, really are. And that means we're mispredicting. And this is why I think this annoying feature is one of the most insidious ones, because it means you guys don't know how powerful and how resilient you are. And this is the thing that worries me most about your generation, which in discussions like this book, Excellent Sheep, and all these things have been talked about in terms of being not very risk-seeking. I think you're scared about negative outcomes and negative feedback, even more, as folks have claimed, than other generations. And this bias is maybe the result of this. You're scared to take on these things, and what we know about you from psychology research is you're just going to be fine. If you take that risky class and you get a crappy grade, you're going to have all these mechanisms to not feel as bad for as much bad or as long bad as you think. If you go risky and you try to apply for a risky job and you don't get it, you're just going to be a lot better than you think. And so this is the bias I worry about most, because it means you're mispredicting your own potential in these ways that are kind of sad. features of our mind that deliver to us this form of miswanting, this idea that we're not wanting the right stuff. The first one, as we saw, of these annoying features is that we're constantly getting delivered misinformation. It's just a feature of our mind that sometimes our mind tells us very strongly this information that's just false. It's the crux of miswanting, but we need to realize this annoying feature to believe that miswanting really happens. And then we saw some of the other things that deliver this miswanting on those particular things. We don't think in terms of absolutes. We're constantly comparing ourselves to reference points, and we don't have control over what those reference points are. They just kind of pop in. I'll just keep going in case you cam to me and not to the screen thing. The next one is that we are constantly seeing this annoying feature where our minds get used to stuff, where if we have something for a long period of time, it just becomes rote and we stop getting the pleasure from it over and over again. And the worst thing is that we don't realize that that happens. We don't realize that that happens for the good stuff, that the good stuff's not going to make us as happy as we think. So we're constantly like seeking out stuff and feeling like we didn't get it because we don't get more. And we also don't kind of take on potentially bad things, thinking like, oh, that's just going to destroy me, when it's really not. And so the big question we're going to end with today is, okay, you just told me about all these annoying features of my mind. How do I shut them off? How do I make those things go away? What are the habits that I can put into place to overcome those annoying features? For that, you're going to have to wait till next time.
Right, so next one is question and answer.
Yeah, free.
I had a question about the TV study that you talked about at the beginning. So you had said that there's this idea that you watch TV, and as you watch people on TV, you feel inadequate because they make more money, and then it makes you spend more money. But I was wondering if there's maybe like a confounding variable in that. Is it maybe that because you're watching a lot of TV, you have a lot of leisure time, and as you have more leisure time, you buy things. So it's not you're buying potato chips to watch the TV, and not necessarily buying things because you're watching the TV and feel inadequate.
Yep, great question. And in fact, in all those cases, they weren't able to, like, you know, what is the extra $4 being spent on that statistic and so on. With all these studies, they're kind of pooling data that's correlational, right? So they're looking at, you know, I'm going to correlate the amount of TV you watch with some outcome. And in all those cases, all the things you're talking about, where it's like, maybe you're getting this effect, but not for the reason you realize. Maybe just the people that are watching more TV are the people with, like, you know, the cushiest jobs, so they have the most money to, like, blow on things and so on, right? What would be awesome is to do those same studies in a more experimental way, where you just assign people. You know, I just bring random people off the street and I assign you to watch more TV, and I ask if that impacts your behavior. Those kinds of studies haven't been done yet, but I think those are the kinds of studies that are being done in a different context, like in the Facebook study, where I assign people to look at Facebook, and not necessarily in terms of money spending, although they didn't look at that, but some of the same effects are there. So I agree, there could be all kinds of things that are going on with those data points, and they should do the right kind of more experimental, not correlation equals causation kinds of studies. But my prediction is if they did them, you probably could get a lot of the same effects. And one of the effects in there that does worry me that we already have is this idea that when you watch more TV, you perceive your income as worse. So if it really was the case that people who are watching a lot of TV had more salary and more leisure time, maybe they wouldn't just necessarily see their absolute salary as worse than the same salary if you didn't watch some TV. But totally agreed, it'd be awesome. A lot of the studies we're going to see, and this is going to be true for the whole course, is like, if you just looked at that one study, you'd be like, okay, there's like a way better way to do that study, and we should do it the right way. But sometimes the mass of all this evidence together starts building the same case. But yeah, totally right. And whenever you see a correlation, you should call me on like, okay, what's really doing the work there? Is it the thing you think, or is it like something else? Yeah.
Yeah, my question is regarding social comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, like, we are at the end of the day, like, super social creatures, particularly in a college campus where students are always looking over their shoulder to see how other people are living their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, like, one way to avoid it is just to put all these filters, such as deactivate Facebook or use less social media. But other than, like, kind of totally just detaching yourself from the social realm, which is kind of impossible, what other factors kind of help with the problem of social comparison other than
so a couple of things on that, because that's like, I think the $1,000,000 question, right? Like, are all of you going to deactivate Snapchat and Facebook tonight and all this stuff? Although I kind of think you actually should, but whatever. But we'll say you won't. Probably most of you won't do it. Okay, so how we shut it off. First thing I think on social comparison, because I kind of presented it in a pretty negative light. I'm like, this is this horrible thing. But like, the fact is, when social comparison was first studied by social psychologists, like back in the 50s, they actually thought of it as a good thing. And it's a good thing because it allows you to like set your compass, right? Like, so like, you know, how much should you earn? Like, how pretty should you be? Like, you know, how many likes should you get on this comment on Facebook, right? Like, you just don't know. Like, there's no absolute value. In fact, the idea is that the only way we could get an absolute on this is to look to other people. Like, other people as a reference point is really useful because it kind of tells you what the yardstick is, right? And so when social comparison was first studied, people thought of it in some ways as kind of almost like a positive, right? Like, it's this way our minds seek out information about what should our yardstick be when we don't have any way to have an absolute yardstick. So it has its good points too. And that's kind of part of your question, because you couldn't shut it off for everything, right? Like, you kind of need to know, like, you know, how many internships should I be applying to, and like, you know, like, how should I be doing in this class generally, or like, you know, but you kind of need that information we get from the social world. The problem is that the information we get from the social world isn't an accurate yardstick on Facebook, Snapchat, etc. For the same reason that I think it's not an accurate yardstick when I go look at fashion magazines, right? So let's say it's actually accurate to compare, like, you know, my beauty, my physique to other people's. Probably it's not for that particular example, but let's say it is. Like, the physiques I'm seeing aren't real physiques, right? Like, they're completely photoshopped, idealized, fake versions of what humans actually look like. Like, they're designed to set this standard that no one could maintain, right? They're designed to make you want this stuff, to make you feel bad, so you buy things, right? My guess is that more so than people want to realize, social media is the same way. Like, nobody's giving an accurate sense of what their real world is, of what their beliefs are, of how much fun they're having on these tools, because the whole point of it is to like make yourself seem kind of awesome, right? And that means that you're not getting, even if social comparison was a good thing, you're not getting an accurate representation of what other people are really like. You're getting this like idealized, like Instagram-y, photoshopped version of everything that's good. So you take your actual life and how things are actually going, where you see the full spectrum, you compare it to other people's and it doesn't match, but it's not like other people's real bell curve. It's like, you know, as we say, like the 2 sigma, like the super awesome part of the bell curve of your life. You're comparing your whole like life to that, and you're like, wow, it's kind of inadequate. And so how do you deal with that, right? We're not, so, and we actually talked about this a little bit with some of the students who stayed last time. I think if we created a culture of social media where you gave like the full picture of what it looked like, then that would actually be good. Then those might be yardsticks that actually didn't have these detrimental effects. We talked last time with the folks that stuck around about an example in academics where this researcher created his real CV, or his real resume. And so usually you see people's CV and it's just all their papers and all their grants. But he actually made the real one, which is like all the things he applied for but didn't get. And it was like all these, it was like rejected from this grant, this paper got rejected 17 times, you know, had to submit it to this really crappy journal, and like, and it like went through. And I felt like if you saw that, you wouldn't feel so bad, because you see your real resume, you see all the stuff that failed. And because of a bias we'll talk about in future times, another silly, awful feature of the mind is that it pays way more attention to the negative stuff than the positive stuff, which is built to seek that out. Like a tiger could be jumping out, all our attention and resources are seeking out the bad stuff. So you only, when you look at your real CV, you actually tend not to see the good stuff. You see the bad stuff very saliently. It's attentional bias. Then you see other people's resume and you're like, oh, they just got this awesome internship. But you don't know they applied for like 70 others that they didn't get, that they're sad about, and so on. And so one solution is to have everybody be more accurate about the real stakes. Probably that would be fantastic, and you guys could start this wonderful cultural revolution. My guess is that's not going to happen. The second is to explicitly realize that that's the case, right? And so in the context of these kind of magazine images, you can shut it off a little bit by realizing these things are photoshopped. Like, before you look at it, to be like, this model is actually not that thin, she's like photoshopped. That does a little bit to kind of shut off that reference point's power. And you guys could do the same thing when you look at your Snapchat stories. You're like, this dude's having fun, but he didn't show me like Thursday night, he didn't show me Sunday night, and like, you can try to reframe those kinds of things, and that can be really powerful. The final thing you can do is set your comparison point so it's not so extreme, right? And downward social comparisons aren't always as powerful as we think, and they don't, as you saw in the Facebook example, it doesn't give you exactly what you need, but you can sometimes change your comparison a lot by just not having it only be your other Yale colleagues here. You can think that there are all kinds of college students with all kinds of backgrounds who lack the kinds of accolades that you guys have. You can think even more often that there are people without like just reasonable means of being here. You can pick your social comparison group to be way different than you, and sometimes that can cause you to realize, sometimes you can use the power of social comparison for good, because you're realizing that what looks bad to you is not actually that bad in the scheme of things if you use other people. And sometimes the act of kind of counting your blessings, as we're going to talk about next time, is a sort of form of that and can be really powerful. So you don't have to shut off Facebook and all these things, although I actually feel like, again, if you're trying to get a job that's going to give you a good income, you have to recognize that the data is that's going to be half as effective in making you happy as just shutting off social media. So choose that as you'd like. Definitely a miswanting in your mind. But try to use these kinds of techniques to feel better. And if you're game, again, you sort of mispredict how happy it'll make you, try it. There's no rule that says you have to have that stuff on for a week. Just shut it off for an authentic happiness survey. Maybe just that alone is going to give you up a couple points, more so than you expect. All right, we will finish for this week, and next week we will return to get the actual things that will make you happy, the actual way you set these biases off.
The references notes from a knowing feature. Or my strongest intuition are often totally wrong. Gilbert and Wilson for 2000. Miswanting some problems in the forecasting of future affective states. In thinking and feeling, the role of affective social cognition. New York, Cambridge University Press. This book excerpt defines miswanting, which is the act of being mistaken about what and how much you will like something in the future. And I feature 2. Our minds don't think in terms of absolutes. Our minds judge to relative reference points. Medved, when less is more, counterfactual thinking and satisfaction among Olympic medalists. Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. This paper tells us due to the power of salient reference points, bronze winners tend to be happier than silver medalists. Lubomirsky, The How of Happiness, and your approach to getting the life you want. This book tells salary goals raises salary rises, which may be due to changing reference points. Van Praag and Fruchters, The Measurement of Welfare and Well-being, the Leiden approach. In Well-being, the Foundation of Hedonic Psychology, New York Russell Sage Foundation. This book excerpt tells us reference points mess up good salaries. For every $1 increase in your actual income, your required income increases by 140. Clark and Oswald, Satisfaction and Comparison Income, Journal of Public Economics. This paper has as reference points mess up good salaries. If your coworker makes more money than you do, then you will be less satisfied with your job. Selling and Hemingway is more always better. A survey on positional concerns, Journal of Economic Behavior and Organization. This paper as reference points mess up good salaries in a hypothetical earnings situation. People would prefer to make less money if their coworker make less rather than make more money if their coworkers make more. Clark, Unemployment as a social norm, psychological evidence from panel data, Journal of Labor Economics. This paper tells us those who are unemployed tend to be happier if the unemployment rate in their area is higher. Ogwin and Shrum. The role of television in the construction of consumer reality. Journal of Consumer Research. This paper tells television programs featuring products and activities associated with an affluent lifestyle act as a harmful social comparison, skewing perception of others' world and our own world. Sure, they overspend American. Why we want what we don't need. New York, New York. This book tells us watching television programs act as a harmful social comparison and increases spending. You can also read an excerpt from the introduction here. Kuhn. The effects of lottery prices on winners and their neighbors. Evidence from the Dutch postcode lottery. American Economic Review. This paper tells social comparison influence or spending. People that live next door to lottery winners are more likely to buy a new car. Burlake and Megan. Keeping up with the Joneses affects perceptions of distributive justice, social justice research. This paper tells us social comparisons mess up good grades. Students would rather miss out on a potential grade increase just so that others in the class don't get an increase too. Kenrick. Effects of physical attractiveness on affect and perceptual judgments when social comparison overrides social reinforcement. Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin. This paper tells us social comparisons mess up our perceptions of physical appearance. Looking at models make us feel bad. Kenrick influence of popular erotica on judgments of strangers and mates. Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. This paper tells us social comparisons mess up our perceptions of physical appearance. Looking at models leads to lower rating of our partner's attractiveness. Vogel. Social comparison, social media and self-esteem, psychology of popular media culture. This paper tells us use of social media make us compare ourselves to others, which lowers our self-esteem. Even a manipulated Facebook feed featuring people that are worse off than we are does not lead to much higher self-esteem ratings. And I feature 3. Our minds are bored to get used to stuff. Detail. Happiness adaptation to income and status in an individual panel tells us that we adapt to earning more money, although we don't adapt to increases in social status as quickly. Brickman, lottery winners and accidental victims. Is happiness relative? It tells us we adapt to having more money, even in extreme cases of lottery winners. Lucas, re-examining adaptation and set point model of happiness reactions to change in marital status. Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Remember this paper from the last week. This paper tells us we adapt to marriage. After a few years and happiness returns to baseline. Gilbert, Stumbling on Happiness. The book states wonderful things are especially wonderful the first time they happen, but their wonderfulness wanes with repetition. And now in future, for we don't realize that our minds are bored to get used to stuff. Levine, accuracy and artifact, re-examining the intensity bias in affective forecasting. This paper tells us we overestimate our emotions and getting bad grades won't make us feel as bad as we think they will. We adapt to bad events too. Dune, location, the misprediction of satisfaction in housing lotteries. Tells us our predictions are worse to negative events. When you think about a future, you tend to focus on the wrong features and overestimate their importance, assigning the adaptation to bad storms. Gilbert, immunity neglect a source of durability bias in affective forecasting. This paper tells us people are generally unaware of the psychological immune system, which is why they tend to overestimate their emotional reactions to negative events. Example in lecture highlights professors getting tenure or not. Eastwick, mispredicting distress following romantic breakup, revealing the time course of the affective forecasting error, tells us we mispredict how we will feel if we break up with a significant other. We think we will feel much worse than we actually do. Safe. Anticipated versus actual reaction to HIV test results tells us people getting a HIV test anticipate more distress given a positive result and anticipate less distress given a negative result, which is more extreme than what they experience when they get their results back. Item: affective forecasting. Why can't people predict their emotions? Thinking and reasoning tells us affective forecasts predicting our emotional response given a certain outcome are too extreme, and graded previous experience of an emotional event does not lead to any greater accuracy of the predictions highlighted in diverse test candidate. Jailbot, stumbling on happiness, outlines some of cognitive biases covered in lecture, such as focalism, the tendency to think just about one event and forget about the other things that happen, and immune neglect, awareness of our tendency to adapt and to cope with the negative events. Week 3 quiz. Okay, so once again I can read or show some questions, but I cannot show my answers. Just the score. Alright, first one. When you do a Google search for social media platform, makes me feel, you get autofill searches like this. Instagram makes me feel inadequate, ugly, bad, insecure, bad about myself, like a loser, lonely, depressed, fat. Facebook makes me feel unpopular, lonely, bad, like a failure, left out, like crap, like a loser, inadequate, bad about myself, sick. Which of the following annoying feathers of our mind best fits those patterns? No feathers, features. Alright. First, our mind's strongest intuition are often totally wrong. Second, our minds don't think in terms of absolutes. Our minds judge to relative reference points. Third, our minds are bored to get used to stuff. Fourth, we don't realize that our minds are bored to get used to stuff. Alright, the second one. Many people chase things like high salaries, perfect bodies, extreme weight loss, cosmetic surgery, and luxury items because they are convinced that attaining those things will make them happy. Which of the following annoying features fits best? Those the same answers as from the first one. My strong intuition are often total wrong. Our minds don't think in terms of absolute. Our minds judge to relative reference points. To relative reference points. Our minds are bored to get used to stuff. We don't realize that our minds are bored to get used to stuff. Right, third one. In a study where teens forecasted their happiness level if they failed a driver's exam, teens continued to mispredict their emotions even if they had failed their driver's test a few times before. Which of the following annoying features fits best? The fourth one. Lottery winners are now significantly happier than those in control group a year after winning the lottery. Which of the following annoying features fits best? And fifth, on average,